Hello, and good evening to you. It's a pleasure for me to be back again to do a live cast. It's a real pleasure. Thanks for joining me today. Please type in, a comment so I know who has joined. I'm not too sure how to see who's joining actually without you typing. So welcome and thank you for joining me. My name is Pauline Lehman. For those who are joining for the very first time, who are watching me for the very first time, I'm the founder of Star Riches Community Initiative, a charity registered in England and Wales with a mission to raise aspirations and break the cycle of Black people underachievement in education, as well as promote the well-being of children and families. My passion is to help parents raise high-achieving children, especially children from BME backgrounds, because all the statistics around our children and our young people are very, very negative. And so I have a passion to empower parents to help them understand the structure of the school system so that they can effectively support their children, because I believe that a child's educational attainment is not determined by race, by social class, by background, by postcode. Every child has got ability and potential to do well in school. Vera, hello and thank you very much. Happy New Year. Actually, I haven't come across you, so thank you for that. Thank you for joining. 8 years gold, that's Joy. Thanks for joining. So today, I'm going to be talking about a very important topic that is useful for us as parents, and it's about nagging. I'm going to be talking about nagging, and I'll please welcome your contributions as well. Its effects on children and how we as parents can actually stop nagging or work and improve and help us to nag less. Now, I believe that effective parenting is key to raising up happy children, raising up confident children, and children who go on to fulfill their potential. And we know what is nagging. So let's start by what is nagging. Nagging is about finding fault non-stop. This topic, God help me. Okay, that's fine. Thanks for being on the show. We're together in it, Vera. So nagging is about finding fault incessantly, continuously. As wives, people say that it's known that women nag their husbands. So I'm sure I'm not speaking, in Chinese here. We all know what nagging is all about, where you're finding fault incessantly, continuously. Why have you done this? Why have you not done this? You always do this and you always do that. And we're saying that all the time, and we're shouting, we're raising our voices, and the home is chaotic. And it has several implications. I believe nagging is something that really needs to be worked on. It demotivates, just like when women nag, if we nag our husbands, when they don't do or they do certain things, it is demotivating, because it's as if you're not paying attention to the things, the positive things one person is doing, but you're rather picking on the negative. So it can be very, very demotivating, especially for a child who is really trying their best. Again, children are not perfect. It's important that we look at it from that standpoint. Children are not perfect. It can lead to bitterness and resentment. So the more we nag, the more the children get frustrated. They get bitter. They start to be resentful, and then they start to answer back. And rudeness, steps in. So as you shout, you notice as a parent that when you shout, you raise your voice, the children raise their voice as well. So it is something that, it is kind of like the reaction really to that action. So it creates an atmosphere of, it escalates. It can escalate to poor behavior, to frustration, to the child feeling, well, my mom doesn't see anything good that I'm doing, and so I'm going to just carry on doing, I won't put in any effort because the effort I put in is not being appreciated. And it becomes a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's really important. And at the end, it does affect, directly or indirectly, it does affect and hurt your relationship with your child. And that is why I think it's a really, really serious issue that we need to work on. So I'm going to be sharing with us 7 strategies to help us stop nagging, or to help us improve on our nagging habits. Now, if you have been nagging and it's led to a tense relationship with your children, especially the teenagers in your home, a good starting point would be to sit down as a family, maybe a family meeting or over a casual, nice, friendly, relaxed discussion, and talk about, let's look at the way our home has been. It's been a bit chaotic. So get your children to talk, get them to talk about how they feel about the home environment as it is, so as they start to talk about the children. I love children because they're going to say exactly what they think. Now, Vera says, finding fault continuously is not what I do, but I constantly push them. My daughter told me I don't feel I can ever be good enough, but inside I couldn't be more proud of her. Absolutely. I know that feeling, Vera. It's good to push, yes? And I will be, anyway, as I share these strategies, we're going to all chip in. Thanks for chipping that in. So, as I was saying, good starting point, have a family meeting, let the children air their views about the current home situation, what they feel about the situation, and be open. It's so important for us as parents to be humble, to be down to earth, so that our children know that they can air their views and we listen to them. So listen to them speak, don't interrupt them, don't judge them. And you then step in and say, yes, I really realize that the home environment has been a bit chaotic, it's been a bit unfriendly, it's been a bit, a bit unkind. So we want to work together as a family to ensure that our home is good. So these are a few things that we're going to try and do over this week together. And it's important that we work as a team. If you are, Christians that believe in prayer, holding hands, praying together is so important when we're starting some new strategies. We know that we're praying together, believing God as the authority in our home to help us, forge ahead. So I'm going to be sharing 8 strategies to help us stop nagging. So the first thing I want to start is with you as a parent. Someone says, a quote says, be the change you want to see. So it starts with yourself. I want you to consider, why do you shout or why do you nag? What are the reasons? For some, it could just be due to upbringing. It may just be as a result of your natural response. I know for a lot of us, where we come from, parents are used to speaking to their children, shouting and always shouting and always shouting. And so we pick it up as being the norm. We can give what we have. So I want, as we discuss this, to look at yourself. Why do you shout? Why do you nag? What are the circumstances that bring about this nagging and this continuous shouting and not seeing anything good in your child? So when you think about the circumstances, is it because of housework? Is it because of not doing homework? Is it because of going out late in the morning or not going to school on time? So it's really important to identify what the issues are. When you identify where the issue is, then you will be able to come up with some strategies that will help you actually find a solution. Remember, if you stop shouting or nagging at your children, they too are likely to stop yelling and speaking out loud. And that is going to help create a peaceful home environment within your home. I remember when I made the decision to not raise my voice anymore and to speak very calmly. My kids did something that they thought I would respond in the not normal way, and I didn't, and they were very, very surprised. And since that realization, since that for me it was like a light bulb moment, I decided to go on that really settled way of talking. I don't raise my voice. I speak calmly. I give the instructions calmly, and we have this calm environment within the home. So you've got to make up your mind that you want to stop it. There's nothing that we cannot stop. There is no habit that we cannot unlearn. Yes, we may have been doing it for a long time and it becomes really, really serious, really, really like second nature. But then we can unlearn that and adopt a quieter way of talking, a more friendly way of talking to our children. Olubusoye says, when I raise my voice, the kids know that I am serious. Okay, do you raise your voice all the time? Because if you raise your voice once, or when you really mean it, then that will work. But for a lot of parents, they raise their voice all the time. Even as teachers, we were taught not to raise your voice all the time for any little thing children do in the classroom. But when you raise your voice for something that is really serious, then the child can then understand that message. What I've done is serious. But if a child does something that is, I consider, or you may consider to be not too serious, and you raise your voice all the time, then there's that habit of raising your voice all the time. So it's about that, really. So for everyone here today, it's going to be really, really unique and different. So first thing, sort yourself out. Do you shout when you're frustrated? Do you shout when you are irritable? When you are, or maybe you're just venting out your frustration. You just come back from work and you're not happy about something, you vent it out. Or maybe it could be something your husband has done, you're venting out on the children. So we need to tackle that. Once you sort that out within yourself and you acknowledge the fact that you need to work on this for the good of your children and to maintain a peaceful home environment, then that is 50% of the solution for that problem. Now, the second thing is create structure and routines. I realize that for a lot of parents, we nag because children are either not doing their chores or doing their homework or doing the things that you expect them to be doing. Now, one way of solving that problem is to create structure or routines at home. Research shows that children thrive best in a very structured environment. When children know that this is what we do when we come back from school, this is the first thing we do, and this is the next thing we do, and that's the next thing we do, then doing that repeatedly help them just flow. So we know when we've had our meal together as a family at the table, it's this person setting the table today, it's this person washing. There is no argument, and it flows that way. We eat together, we put away the plate, and the person washing washes. That way, things are done at the right time, and we don't have to be reminding people of what to do and when to do it. So create structure, create routines that children can follow. The third thing is set clear expectations. Now, I want you to think about the circumstances when you've shouted or nagged your children. What are the reasons why you nag? So your expectations will be around the reasons why you nag. And so for everyone listening today, you will have a unique set of circumstances or around which the nagging happens. So when do you nag? When do you yell? Set clear expectations around those circumstances. And where possible, talk about them with your children. They need to understand, because it's very easy to, let's not imagine that children know what to do. A lot of children need to be reminded. Sometimes we expect them to know what to do, but they don't know what to do. That is why they are going through a training. As the scripture says, train up a child in the way he should go. So training is about continuously telling them what they should be doing so that they can then do it. So set clear expectations. Where possible, even get them to write it down. Where possible, get them to, or you can design a poster. I've done that before. Design a poster, stick it on the wall, so we all are clear about expectations. So when there are consequences, the child doesn't feel mom is unfair. She didn't tell me this was wrong, and she's now giving me consequences or punishment and that kind of thing. So set clear consequences. Expectations. Next thing, set clear consequences. So for each of the hello Mike, thanks for joining. Emilienne, thanks for joining us today. Okay, please join in, chip in your comments. We're all learning. I say parenting is a non-stop school, so we're all learning. So set clear consequences. Children need to know that for every expectation there is a consequence. So when you set the clear expectations, they should know what will happen if they don't follow them. And it's really important that the consequences you set, you actually go ahead and do them. And don't come up with consequences that you know you will not do. For example, when I was teaching, this parent said if their daughter carried on doing this, they were not going to go on holidays. They had paid for a holiday to Spain, And the parent was saying if the child gets another detention or does whatever it is we were reprimanding them for, they would not go on holiday to Spain. Now, as a parent, you've paid the holiday. You've paid for the holiday. Are you going to realistically stop your child from going on the holiday? You get what I mean? So we need to be thinking about that. Make sure that the consequence is something you will actually do. Make sure that the consequence is not one that will punish you as well, because sometimes you set a consequence and you have to sit down there with the child as well. So that, yes, let's set clear consequences. I'm going to do a Facebook Live on consequences. It's really easy to come up with consequences, especially consequences around the things that our children treasure, our children value. That's number 4. Number 5, give few instructions at a time. Now, this is something I learned in my career as a teacher. Now, sometimes we tell the children, okay, wash plates, then do your homework, then dry the clothes, then do this. Now, you give about 5 instructions. I tell you, be they children or teenagers, they will not remember. And by the time you come back expecting that they would have done those 5 things you've asked them to do, you will be screaming your head off because they wouldn't have done it. You gave too many instructions. Sometimes in school, depending on the children we're teaching, especially children with learning difficulties, we had to actually write down instructions on the board so they can see the first instruction is this, the next thing is this, and the next thing is that. You know your child. Depending on who your child is, you may need to, if you need to give several instructions, maybe before going away, you're going to work and they're home, or you're leaving them with a childminder or something, put down the instructions on paper, give the adult that is responsible, or put down a set of instructions for the day and stick it where they would see. If you have a board in your kitchen, write down instructions so that the children know what to do step by step. That way, we are giving them responsibility so they own it, so that when you come back, there's no excuse. Mom, I forgot. Mom, I didn't remember what you said. Or Dad, I forgot. Dad, I didn't remember what you said. So ensure that you give a few instructions at a time. Make sure that they are listening. Now, it's not uncommon for us as parents to shout instructions. You're in the kitchen and you're shouting across the house, or maybe upstairs, telling a child to do something. They are upstairs. So you don't know if they're listening. Now, you're assuming that because you shouted out the instruction, they are listening. And believe you me, they may have the music on. They may be engaged in conversation with someone. They may be on their phone. They may not be listening. So make sure they're listening. So make sure they're in front of you. Make sure that they are actually hearing you. If you consider it to be something serious that you want them to do, then ensure that they're listening. Ensure that there's eye contact. If necessary, ensure you could actually even get them to repeat the instruction for you. Okay, what did I say you should do? Tell me everything I said you should do, so that you won't tell me later on that you forgot, for example. So if that is the excuse your child used, then, ask them to repeat it for you. In the case of chores, a good way around this is maybe to come up with a timetable of chores for the whole week. So what do you expect the children to do? So write down the timetable of chores, include the timing when they should be doing it. Okay, maybe you want the worktop cleared before they go to bed, so it means they do that before going to bed after their homework. Plates washed after dinner, and it should be done at that time. So it could be tidying up your bedroom before you're going to school. It could be Saturday chores. Whatever it is, just put it down at the timetable. On the timetable, stick it in the kitchen, on the fridge or wall, wherever it is they can see it. That way you are giving them responsibility. You are helping to raise up children who are responsible, children who can follow instructions, children who don't need to be told all the time what to do. So that is number 5. Number 6 is change your language. Okay, so we're coming back to us. Change your language. Now, have you noticed that when you want to nag your child or reprimand your child and you use why? Now, why? When you use why, they start to find reasons to defend themselves. Even as adults, if your husband tells you, or you tell your husband, why have you not done this? So you're giving them an opportunity to defend themselves. But in essence, what you really want them to do is to do it. So why not just give the instruction, Precious, do this. Yes? Oh, why have you not done this? I told you in the morning to do this. Why have you not done this? You never do this. You always do this. Now, those ways of communicating are very confrontational. And so you stir up an atmosphere, you create an atmosphere where children will have to respond to that. Well, Mom, why do you always say why? I didn't do it. I don't always do it. So they start to answer back. So give the instruction straight away. Okay, Aina says, how long should children be playing on the computer? Okay, Aina, in our home, there's a no TV policy during the week, okay? Unless we are watching an educative program, especially my youngest daughter, or maybe they've been given an assignment to watch a documentary or that kind of thing. Depending on the age of the child, there are some activities they could do on the computer, and schools do set a lot of homework on computer. You need to know what the homework is, and a lot of times in my children's school, when they set homework on mathletics, for example, they would say spend 30 minutes. So if a child is doing mathletics, then it's 30 minutes. Now, if you want to include playtime on computer, then it's important for you to create, to give a time limit. And I would say during weekdays, if it's playing on computer, I would encourage you to use it as a reward. So they don't come back from school and go straight onto computers or games. Give them, create a structure with the different things they have to do, the reading, the homework, the study time, the arts and crafts and other things they can do, and then if they're able to do it, encourage them. If you can do all these things before bedtime, then you have time to play on the computer. That way they will hurry up to do the things they have to do because they want that reward, which is playing on the computer. I hope I've answered your questions there, Aina. Okay, so I was talking about changing your language. So instead of the why, instead of the you always, you never, those kind of language that brings judgment, condemnation, that is critical, just give the instruction plainly. Do this and do that. Okay. And also the tone of voice. We need to really work on our tone of voice. Sometimes the tone of voice we use as parents can come across as being very, very confrontational. So let's be calm. Let's adopt calmness as parents. Because when you're calm, your children are calm as well. But when you're high, when you are, angry, you're always coming across as angry, the children pick it up as a normal way of communication. So let's work on that. And let's be calm. I tell you the truth, when I adopted that, I saw the amazing difference it made in the house. To avoid shouting across instructions from downstairs, shouting across, it makes the house very, very chaotic and noisy. Number 7, really important, give forward notice, okay? Or give advance notice. So give them time, okay? So for example, if they're watching a program, yes, instead of saying, turn off the TV, imagine yourself and another who was watching a program and someone comes and tells you in the middle of it, turn off the TV and go to bed, for example, or turn off the TV and do something. Give them time. Ask them, when does the program end? Children's programs usually are not too long. Every 15 or 30 minutes, it would end. When does it end? Now, at the end of this program, turn off the TV and then, okay, do the next thing. So give them advance notice. Or you have 5 minutes to bedtime, 5 minutes to the time to brush your teeth. Or I expect the dishes to be washed by this time, or I expect the laundry to be done and dried before bedtime. So give them that time so you're not in their face. Okay, so give the instruction, give them time. That way they feel they have a bit of, they feel like you're not putting that pressure, you're not pushing them constantly. And it's important. And then if they don't, then they have intentionally disobeyed, and then there is a consequence. Number 8, finally, praise specific effort. So if you are dealing with a situation where your children, okay, are constantly need to be nagged or reminded to do things, then when they start to improve, if, for example, you've told them you have 15 minutes and then it's time to brush your teeth and get ready for bed, and they actually do it, then please encourage them. Say, well done for listening to the instruction the first time. Well done for doing as told. Give them a high five. Give them a hug. In certain cases, it might need you to work through maybe a 1 week period. Create a chart, a positive reward chart. Each time they obey first time, at the first time of asking, you give them a sticker. They put it on. Encourage them. By the time you have 7 stickers or maybe 20 stickers, you will have this, will go to McDonald's or KFC, or you get them something like that. That way the child, they will be motivated to do what you want them to do. It's not bribery. At the end of the day, we want our children to accomplish something. So we could either set them the positive reinforcement strategies, or you could use consequences, punishments. Yes, now whichever works best, but I assure you, positive reinforcement is so powerful. So, that those positive words that we tell them is so encouraging. The little things that they do, they don't have to do something massive. Every little step, even if it's just once they've done something, they've responded at the first time of asking, encourage them to do so. Encourage them, give them that positive word, high five, hug, maybe give them a sweet, maybe give them a chocolate, something that will encourage them to want to, obey instructions at the first time of asking the next time. So I've shared with us 8 strategies. I'm going to run through the 8 strategies again. Please, if you have questions, if you have comments, you have anything else to add that has worked for you, then please do share. Vera says, Pauline, how can I put these strategies in place without being physically present at home? I get home earlier, 7 p.m., and it's so hard to follow through with strategies consistently. That is very, very true. Now, one of the things you can also do is if you create this routine, maybe this timetable, okay, for each child, and say, you come back from school at this time, this is what you do from this time to this time, and from that time to that time, this is what you do. Now, by the time you get home at 7 p.m., you want to check that these things have been done. Now, in terms of study or reading, you want to tell them, okay, maybe the day before they read up to page 80. So I expect you to go on from page 80 to page maybe 100 during your reading time before I come back. And you can check that. You can take the book, sit down and ask them questions, get them to tell you about what they've read. Now, it takes a lot of effort, but I tell you, when the child knows that you're going to check on what they've done, then they're going to try and they're going to go out of their way to do it. If they have to study maths, for example, put down on the timetable the topic they have to study. Maybe give them exercises to do. Take a textbook and say you're going to do exercise 1 to, questions 1 to 9. And obviously when you come home and you see that it's done, then that way you know that they've done it. I think it is possible, as long as the children that can stay home on their own. If your children can stay home on their own, I imagine that they are a lot older, they're not younger children, then they should be able to follow routines. It's about follow-up. Ensure that whatever you've told them to do, you're actually going to follow up. And once they know you're following up, and once you are also encouraging, rewarding, yes, they will very, very likely ensure that they do it. Each time mommy comes, mommy gives me, mommy encourages them, mommy does something, gives them a hug, mommy does something because they have, listened to what you, or done what you've expected them to do. They will definitely do it. And let's just keep loving them even when they don't do it. Let's keep reminding them we love them and we want them to do this because we know they have a bright future. We know there is greatness in them. We know that we see them as leaders. Let's keep telling them this, and that leaders obey instructions. Leaders are disciplined, leaders are structured, and that kind of thing. Let's keep speaking those words into them. If every day you're telling your child is a leader, that she's amazing, even if they're not quite there yet, just keep throwing those positive words, in them. Eventually, in their subconscious mind, it gets settled in and they start to act in that way. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, okay, awesome, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to run through the 8 things I've said really quickly. And then at the end, I'm going to talk about what I'm putting up next Monday for our students in GCSE classes. So 8 strategies. Number 1, I said tackle you. The starting point is sorting you out. Why are you nagging? What are the circumstances? What is affecting you and causing you to be irritable? Number 2, create structure and routines at home. Number 3, set clear expectations. Number 4, set clear consequences. Number 5, give few instructions at a time. Number 6, change your language. Again, going back to you. Number 7, give forward notice. Give children time to respond to instructions. And number 8, praise specific effort. Praise the little, milestones. Emilian says, thank you, Pauline. This topic is spot on. Thank you so much, Emilian, for joining in. So on Monday, I'm going to be doing a workshop for students in GCSE classes, students doing GCSEs in May, June, in lower 6 and upper 6. Now, I'm going to share in my Facebook page the link for you to sign up your child in a GCSE class. As we all know, children this year are doing the new GCSEs in all subjects. Now, it's a linear GCSEs, meaning that they're studying 2 years, they're doing an exam that will cover 2 years worth of work. It's very, very intense. And for a lot of students, it can be overwhelming. So I'm going to put up this workshop. I am an academic life coach. I help parents raise high achieving children, and I help young people. I work with teenagers, helping them, teaching them strategies to help them achieve top marks in exams. And I'm writing a book on that will be coming. I'll be publishing very, very soon. So look out for that as well. So I will be putting that up. Please share with parents whose children are doing GCSEs this May and June so that they can sign up. If you found the video useful, please do me a favor, share the video. If you found it useful, share on your page, share with others that you think might benefit from it. If you haven't liked our page, please like our Facebook page so that when I share lots of useful tips and ideas and information about our children's education, you can receive notification. I did share today about 11 plus exams. So I did share 2 things today. So if you want to look at that, that will be fine. Sandra says, Sister Pauline, this is quite good. Thank you so much, Sister Sandra, for joining in. I want to say thank you for joining in this late. This time works for me because that's when the children are all out of the way and I can have, my time to actually do the Facebook Live uninterrupted. So you have a wonderful evening, have a wonderful weekend, and by God's grace, I will be back again next week, Thursday. Until then, God bless you. Bye-bye.